Today, we're going to talk about my biggest and hardest money lessons learned thus far. So, this is coming from a former CPA, now life coach, and I just want to help you avoid these big money mistakes I've been making. So, learn from my mistakes and let's go. Lesson number one is cheapest is not always the best option. And this can apply to everything from your clothes, your things in your apartment or house, and also like hiring vendors or contractors. So, one of the biggest lessons I learned was when we were renovating our house. We were super strapped for cash. If you buy a new house and you have to furnish and you have to fix, you are being drained of money constantly. And so you make it work at the time. We got two quotes and one was extremely cheaper. I think it was like 8,000 versus 5,000 to fix our patio. And we're just thinking we are strapped for cash. Let's just do the cheaper one. It should be fine. And guess what? It ended up being more of a headache because this contractor kept asking for more money. In the end, we spent more than the higher offer and had to deal with the constant fluctuating price, even though we've already agreed upon it. But you know what? Like my husband says, this is just the cost of education because that lesson was a hard lesson learned. From now on, that really just changed the way we made decisions when it came to vendors and getting things fixed or even buying things. Because when you get the cheaper option, maybe the long term cost is higher, right? Because it doesn't last as long and you have to replace it, or it breaks more frequently and you have to repair it all the time. You want to always look for those hidden fees of maintenance, repairs. So don't overlook those things. And now, as a solution, anytime I need a quote for something, whether I'm shopping around for new furniture or a vendor, our rule of thumb is always get 3 quotes because then you can see what the range is. If one is super high and one is super low, you're going to want to ask those questions. How can they be quoting me for the same job, but there's such a difference, right? Keep that in mind. Number 2 is not all financial advisors are the same. When we were first starting out on our retirement journey, as many do, you feel really unsure, right? Because you're like, I don't want to mess this up and I'm not sure what to do. So obviously, you look to someone who that is their expertise. What many people don't know is how do these financial advisors make money? So there are 2 different types. There are financial advisors who make commissions off of what they are selling you, where they are investing your money. And then there's the other kind who are maybe like a commission or flat fee. I would highly suggest going with a flat fee person because when we used a financial advisor, he worked for a insurance company, which is also another flag. But I had asked him the question, and this is when we're like fresh out of, we're like 20 something, I don't even know. And I thought I was doing my homework, and I had asked him, how much do we pay you? What is your fee? What is the cost? And you know what he said? He said, oh, you don't pay me anything. There's no fee. I remember telling my husband at the time, like, that really rubbed me the wrong way. He's clearly not doing this out of the kindness of his heart, right? We're all here to do a service, get paid, make a living. I get it. But I think just the fact that he wasn't really upfront about it just was like a red flag, and I should have trusted my intuition. Do your homework, understand where they're making their money, how they make their money, because that really affects how they invest your money. So do your homework on the fees. How do you know this person? Who were they referred from? And don't just blindly take a friend's referral because that's actually what happened to us. We just took someone's referral and just didn't really do much homework other than that. The next mistakes, these are very specific, and this is my basic experience and my lived experience and loss of money. I've seen it affect people in my personal life, whether it's friends and family. Number 3 would be if somebody is trying to sell you a whole life insurance policy, I would highly suggest against that, if especially if you're young, like in your 20s or even 30s. I do think oftentimes people sell it as an investment, but it's not an investment. It's like an insurance. So you're going to have to really understand what that is and how that functions. But typically speaking, if you're in your 20s and 30s, like that is just not something that we need. There are way more other options to invest your money. This has affected many people. The downside of a whole life insurance is it's a contract, high fees, and also what typically happens is it's an insurance policy, and what they do is they keep you in for a certain amount of years and you have to pay, let's say, $200 a month. If you miss one payment, there is no going back. Like they will cancel your policy and you lose whatever you've put in so far. I know personal friends who have done this in their 20s, early 30s. They just got out of med school. A lot of professionals get sold like this whole life insurance. So just be careful and really research and understand what purpose does that serve in your investment portfolio. Number 4 is on that same note, I would say if you're in your 20s or 30s, you should not have an annuity is a type of investment that basically you are contracted into investing a certain amount. Like let's say the lump sum is like $100,000. And depending on who the contract is with, you are guaranteed a certain amount of money per month, like in retirement. So let's say they're saying, oh, you put in 100,000, we'll pay you like $600 a month for 10 years when you retire. But here's the thing about annuities, it's one, a contract. Two, usually the earnings are not higher than what you would just make if you just invested on your own in a index fund or something. Typically, people will do this because they sell it to people based off of this guarantee that I give you this set amount per month when you're retired. And that appeals because you're like, okay, by then I'm going to be retired. I don't have money coming in. So this would be great to have a set amount of money every month. But guess what? If you invest on your own and let that money grow and don't touch it until retirement, you would probably make more than this guaranteed amount. So, yes, I'm not a financial advisor. This is just a warning based off of my personal experience with my parents' money and with other people's money and things that I hear in my personal circle. Our money was also put into an annuity, and we had to pay a huge surrender fee to get it out of that and break the contract. So, number 5 is try to focus on the long game. And what I mean by that is, I know in your 20s or even early 30s, when you start making money, it's hard because you'll see people in your life, your friends and acquaintances, coworkers. You'll see some purchases, right? That's when your life starts to upgrade. You'll notice designer handbags and you're going to have the new cars and you're going to have the nicer apartment with higher rent. But I would just suggest to keep your long-term vision in check. This is not to say to be super frugal and don't buy that latte. This is something that I've lived in my 20s. You look around and everyone's upgrading their life. You see all the bags, the jewelry, it's all these awesome things. And of course, you're jealous, right? I wanted it too. But I knew there were other things that I wanted more, whether it was saving for a house or saving for the next property or trying to put that into our retirement. I think for me, it was just like keeping my eyes on the prize, which is long term. For me, it's wanting to build that generational wealth for my kids. You got to have your long term outlook within your finances because that makes those impulse purchases or everyday splurges easier to deal with because you're like, could you buy that designer handbag? Yeah, you technically have that money, right? That's always something I try to remind myself. It's if I really wanted it, of course I can buy it. But do I really want to? I hope the cost of my education can save you some money. And if this was helpful, please like, subscribe, and share with a friend. I feel like I should make the cost of my education worth it and share it with everyone. I'll see you guys next time. Thanks. Bye.